If there's a competition for the most unhelpful cliche in the world, I think thinking outside the box will be high on that list. How do we even think outside the box? What is the box? Is it a natural talent? Can we learn it? Is it effortless, or do we have to put work into thinking outside the box? And so I looked into the country I currently live in that's one of the most creative in the world, Japan. And luck would have it that there is an ancient Japanese framework on how to master the creative process. So let's talk about it today. It's called SHUHARI. Step 1, shu. And this means to obey. Find your sensei, you enter that school, and the sensei teaches you whatever it is they say, and you just follow it to a T. Don't question. Now, the idea is that the job of the sensei is to give you the fundamental principles, the core ideas, the frameworks you need to establish a strong foundation. The goal here is to just avoid confusion, right? It's whatever it is you're trying to master, it's a big, vague thing. So how can we, follow the sensei's thinking and just understand the building blocks and build that foundation? If we apply it, let's say, to Picasso, we can see that early on in his career, he picked realistic paintings. He just did realistic portraits, portrait after portrait, classical training. And that's okay, because that prepares us to step number 2, which is ha. This means to break. So the sensei has taught you all the rules, all the boundaries of the foundation. And now it's time to test those foundations, right? When you're giving a rule, right, it's natural for us to want to break it. So this is where the experimentation happens. We try to see if we can incorporate frameworks from other people, right? We can see which one works for us. Why does it work for me? It's really a period of exploration and experimentation. Coming back to that Picasso idea, right, he went through the blue period, the rose period, the African period. In each, he brought the fundamentals with him. But at the same time, he added a little twist. He was experimenting. Once we have that down, then it's step 3, D. This means to depart. We obeyed the original teaching, right? We then broke some rules from the original teaching, and now we have enough to create our own teaching. The goal is to make your own teaching. Back to Picasso, this was moving on to Cubism and beyond, right? The bowl from Picasso is a perfect example. He went through all these stages of the bowl, right? From super realistic to very abstract. And the idea is that in the end, you go through it to find the essence of the bowl. Now, most of us think that, okay, we arrive at D, we create our own school, and that's it, right? We've mastered the process. But actually, Senrikyu, the tea master who came up with this concept, said, do not forget the core spirit of the original teaching. Because there's a difference between creativity that's built on the strong foundation of the process, and then there's creativity that ignores it, that starts from the end, jumps immediately to let's remove the form and do something different. There are 2 words for these in Japanese. The first one is when you are creative based on an understanding of the original teaching, the essence of the art. It's called katayaguri. You break the mold. But when you create without an understanding of the initial structure, of the initial essence, it's called katanashi, which means there is no form. The creativity is formless. Mastery of the creative process in the Japanese mindset here is a reminder to the complex and paradoxical idea of creativity, of thinking outside of the box. We have to be aware there is a box. We have to understand the box. We then can push the boundaries and eventually think outside of it. But even then, we want to remember the essence of where that box came from, right? What are we trying to do in the end? This process of mastery applies to creativity as much as it applies to learning. Right? We start with mental models of how the world works. We start with frameworks that help us break down complexity. Right? That's the shu part of the process. Then we have ha, where we learn new models, apply it against our reality and see what actually fits. What do we actually believe in? Right? What was a little off in the initial mental models that we started with? That's the ha part. Then there's li, right? Once we've done those things, how do we distill what we have learned into a mental model, into something that we can share with the world, for them to see the world through our eyes? Right? All of the same time knowing that we started this because we want to learn, we're curious, and we want to understand how the world works. Following this Japanese process of mastery, SHUHARI, it seems very methodical. It takes the scary vagueness out of creativity. And if you want to know more about this process, I talk about it in this video here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.